The massive RV was already halfway onto the flatbed when I heard her screaming from across my property. Through the dust cloud kicked up by the tow truck, I could see Karen Whitfield in handcuffs, her perfectly styled blonde hair now wild and tangled as she thrashed against the deputy holding her arm. She was yelling something about community space and open land rights, but her words were drowned out by the diesel roar of the truck engine. A small crowd of neighbors had gathered at the gate to my ranch, watching in stunned silence. This was the moment the most powerful woman in Pine Valley Estates realized that her HOA authority stopped dead at my property line. I should probably start from the beginning. My name is Marcus Chin. 6 months ago, I inherited 40 acres of untouched ranchland from my late uncle. The property sits just outside the Pine Valley Estates subdivision. A grid of nearly identical homes where lawn height is measured with a ruler and mailbox colors are pre-approved by committee. After 25 years in the military, I was ready for solitude. The ranch was perfect, rolling hills, a creek winding through the eastern edge, and no neighbors for at least a quarter mile in any direction. I met Karen Whitfield the first week I moved in. She arrived at my gate in a golf cart emblazoned with HOA president on the side, wearing a tailored pantsuit in the 90-degree heat and gripping a clipboard like it was a badge of office. Her smile didn't reach her eyes as she introduced herself and launched into what she called a friendly neighborhood orientation. She spoke about the prestige of Pine Valley Estates and the importance of preserving community standards. I listened politely as she rattled off rules about lawn treatments, mailbox paint, and decorative fencing. Then she glanced out at my wide-open property, and her smile flickered. In a concerned tone, she noted how empty my land looked and suggested a row of hedges or a decorative fence to better align with the neighborhood aesthetic. I thanked her and explained that I liked it exactly as it was, that open space was the point of owning a ranch. Her smile tightened. She handed me a fat packet of HOA guidelines and drove off. The suggestions started the following week. First came a formal letter recommending I plant Bradford pear trees along my property line. Then an email with links to approved landscape architects who could help maximize my land's visual potential. Each message ended with increasingly passive-aggressive closings like, "Looking forward to your cooperation in beautifying our community." I responded the same way every time, polite, direct, and clear. My property wasn't part of the HOA and therefore not subject to their rules. But Karen didn't take that well. She started showing up at town council meetings, complaining about the eyesore next to Pine Valley. She circulated a petition claiming my land was lowering home values. She even encouraged neighbors to report me for bogus code violations, none of which stood when inspectors visited. Then came her boldest move yet. Karen launched a campaign to have my land annexed into the HOA. She made a slideshow, complete with aerial photos and plans for walking trails, a community garden, and even a playground, all laid out across my property. She pitched it to anyone who'd listen as a way to elevate the community. When word of her scheme reached me through a friend in the county office, I had my lawyer send her a cease and desist letter. It spelled out in no uncertain terms that my property would never be part of their subdivision. That must have been when Karen decided to get creative. One Saturday morning in late September, I returned from the feed store to find a 35-foot RV parked just inside my main gate. Not beside it. Not near it. Fully on my property. Right past my no trespassing signs. A sedan was parked behind it, and Karen was setting up lawn chairs like she was at a picnic. I pulled up and asked what the hell she was doing. She greeted me with that same fake smile and announced she was borrowing the space for her sister's family visit, said it cheerfully, like she was doing me a favor. When I told her she was trespassing and needed to leave, she laughed and pulled out a document she claimed gave her legal authority. She called it a community use agreement and said HOA members had the right to use adjacent open spaces for recreation. I took the paper. It was a complete fabrication, made-up legal terms, fake statute references, pure nonsense. I told her it was fraud on top of trespassing and that the RV had to be moved immediately. She crossed her arms and said I was being selfish. Claimed the community had rights too and she wasn't going anywhere until her sister's visit ended, in 2 weeks. Then I saw my gate's heavy-duty padlock in the dirt, cut clean with bolt cutters. I called 911. While we waited for the sheriff, I also called Martinez Towing and asked for their biggest flatbed. Karen smirked and told me I was overreacting. She even offered to pay a small rental fee for the space. I didn't say a word, just showed her the security footage from my phone, her cutting the lock at 6 a.m. Her face drained of color. Deputies arrived first, 2 patrol cars. One of them, Deputy Rodriguez, I knew from the VFW. He took one look at Karen and sighed. Apparently, this wasn't her first incident. I showed him the deed, the cut lock, the footage, and the phony document. He flipped through her so-called agreement and actually laughed out loud at some of the made-up legal language. Karen tried every excuse in the book. Claimed she had verbal permission from the previous owner. Said the land was abandoned. Said she was helping the community. Rodriguez gave her 2 options, move the RV now or be arrested for trespassing, vandalism, and attempting to file a false legal document. That's when Karen made her final mistake. She declared she wouldn't be intimidated by small-town cops who didn't understand property law and pulled out her phone to call her lawyer, the HOA attorney. Rodriguez shrugged, pulled out his cuffs, and read her rights. The tow truck arrived as she was being loaded into the patrol car. Karen's sister and brother-in-law emerged from the RV looking horrified. They had just arrived that morning and had no idea Karen had broken into private property. They apologized profusely and asked if they could grab their things before the RV was towed. I gave them 15 minutes. Karen screamed at them not to validate this injustice. As the driver expertly hauled the RV onto the flatbed, more neighbors began to appear. Word had gotten out through the Pine Valley Estates Facebook group. Some folks looked shocked. Others, relieved. I overheard one woman whisper that Karen had fined her for the wrong shade of beige on her shutters, while out here committing actual crimes. 3 months later, Karen stood trial. She was charged with second-degree criminal trespass, vandalism, and filing a fraudulent document. She tried to play it off, claimed she genuinely believed she was acting in the best interest of the community. The judge wasn't buying it. Especially after 3 other property owners came forward with stories of Karen trying to strong-arm them into HOA compliance. She was found guilty on all charges. Sentenced to 18 months probation, $5,000 in fines, and 200 hours of community service, specifically ordered to be served outside Pine Valley Estates. Karen's jaw dropped. She stammered that it would ruin her real estate license. The judge simply said, "You should have thought of that before committing fraud." Let me know if you'd like a shorter version, a screenplay format, or a sequel.